Okay, kia ora koutou and happy Monday. We are on our first Q&A for the week with the one and only Jake Campus from Jake Campus Nutrition. Welcome, Jake.
Hey, how are you? How's everyone? I hope the lockdown's treating you well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm good. Today's a good day.
Today's a good day.
Out for a walk. Yeah, out for a walk, grounded myself in nature, and have been doing some really cool calls with some young people. So feeling good today. How are you? How's today for you been?
Good. So I've been working online, which is really great, and just been making some calls, client calls, stuff like that. And yeah, just doing a sort of normal morning routine of getting some exercise in with a bit of a walk or jump on the spin bike, and then I try to do some sort of like resistance training in the evening. So yeah.
Work it. So this this lockdown, how's this period been for you?
If I'm honest, it's hard. I'm a go person. If I'm not working, I'm training or I'm traveling. So I don't really have a long period of time where I'm in one place at one period of time sitting still. And it's been an adjustment for me. I do feel like a little bit of anxiety around it, if I'm honest. Just being out of routine and trying to create a new routine, new things with work in terms of formulating new systems to be able to do what we do with our clients that we see normally face to face on an online platform, still being able to work with the team and manage a team without actually having face-to-face contact with them as well. So it's been a time of unknowns. So I'd be lying if I said it's been smooth sailing, but we're getting there, and I understand the necessity for doing all of this. And I just hope that it all pays off, which it is at the moment. So yeah.
Thanks for being honest. I definitely can really appreciate a bit of truth at the moment. It does seem like on social media everyone's doing amazing and doing yoga 3 times a day and eating healthy. So it's really good to hear some real truth, like as a business owner and as a human being, just, getting a hang of a new routine in and of itself is a challenge.
And how about you? Like, how are you finding it, if you're honest?
Yeah, I definitely think it's been a bit of a roller coaster. There's like weeks or days where it feels like I've got a groove and I've got my energy and I've got my focus, and then there's other days where I'm just like watching RuPaul's Drag Race all day on the couch and doing the least I can as a mum, which I feel like I've just had to surrender to it, that there's going to be moments of motivation and inspiration and action, and there's going to be moments of just take it easy and just go with it and ride it out. I definitely love routine as well, and I'm really missing going to the gym and having that community of people. I'm definitely missing seeing people face to face and being able to just do something. Like I want to go bowling or go down to the arcade or like go to the beach or just do things. So it's been a big adjustment, and it has been for everyone. It's just so good to be able to talk real about it,
I think one positive from this is I think a lot of things that I probably took for granted, I no longer will. Like just the freedom of, let's go to a movie or let's go eat out or go see a friend. Like some of those things you just think, can't really be bothered. Now I'm like, man, I'm craving that. Like I wish I had the ability to do that. So I think moving forward, I've got a greater appreciation for the lifestyle that we did have pre-lockdown. And my mindset changed around a lot of things. Like often it would be, waiting for holidays or travel to get some excitement, where now I sort of know like, hey, we've got a whole lot of world right in our backyard that we can take advantage of and really enjoy those simple things. So that's cool. For me. I know I'm going to be a changed person after this and more appreciative.
Yeah. Is there anything else for you over the last couple of weeks that you've introduced that you think you're going to keep around?
I haven't really, there's nothing really new to my routine that I've changed. I've been trying to keep in a routine that's more normal than anything. I just think I will probably spend more time doing things locally than I would going on so many trips.
Cool,
And taking advantage of what we have right here. We've got so much to offer here in New Zealand, even in Hamilton. You just don't do it because you're like, oh, it's just Hamilton, like you kind of.
Now you're like, oh, it's Hamilton. I want to go do it.
Yeah, just let me do the things. So I guess like for me, that's how I feel coming out of it is like I just want to bit more freedom back and take advantage of what we have on our doorstep, and that's going to help New Zealand's economy moving forward, which is beneficial for everyone as well.
That's so good. That's so cool to hear. I have to ask, where are you going to go and get your first takeaways from? Do you eat takeaways?
Well, not that much. It's a blessing and a curse. I have a disease called celiac disease, so I can't have gluten. I'm highly allergic. So that wipes out most of the bad food for me anyway. I am sort of craving things like I love sushi. I love like Mediterranean food, Greek and Turkish. So those are probably like the things that I'm craving the most. I'm a really good cook. If you follow my Instagram page, Jake Campus Nutrition, you would have seen that we pretty much do healthy versions of everything. So like I never really feel like I'm missing out anyway, but like there's some things that are pretty labor intensive, like sushi, that I don't personally make myself at home. It's just too fidgety for these big mitts. So I just I just leave it to the experts. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, look, kia ora to everybody who's jumped on. I can see there's quite a few people online with us now. So I'm here with Jake Campus. Today we're going to talk about nutrition and well-being. If you have a question that you'd like Jake to answer, please drop it in the comments and we'll do our best to get through them. Or if there's something that's being shared that really resonates, drop a comment and let us know what that is. Let's dive into it, Jake. Really excited to see where this conversation goes, because I know food is such an important element to well-being. So it'd be cool to just give us a little bit of background about who you are and what you do and what Jake Campus Nutrition is all about.
My name is Jake Campus, obviously. So I'm the owner and founder of Jake Campus Nutrition. We're a team of university qualified nutritionists. We have 5 university qualified nutritionists, males and females, that work out of our Hamilton office. We also have, content creators, administrators, PAs, that sort of stuff that work on the administration side and I have a chief operations officer that does an amazing job of mapping out all of our content and the direction of the business with me and systemizing what we do as a business to make the customer experience the best possible. We offer a range of services from face-to-face consulting here in Hamilton. We have online plans that have online payment plans where you can work with a qualified nutritionist online towards your goals anywhere in the world. We provide training programs with that, supplementation advice, obviously your meal plan, which is to fit your budget, your food likes, dislikes. We work with food allergies, vegetarians, vegans, people who are pregnant, post-pregnancy, athletes through to weight loss, muscle gain. So we work with a lot of people. I also have a couple of other companies. So we have a food company called Prepped, which is part of a bigger company called Ready to Eat. We manufacture and distribute bulk food. So you can go on and order 450 grams of flavored chicken breast in a variety of different flavors, or pre-cooked steak, pre-cooked carbohydrates, pre-cooked chicken. So it gives you all the pre-cooked food, all flavored, low calorie, and then you can build what you want out of that. So we have that company as well that runs adjacent with JCN. And I also work a lot with, I'm a owner of the WBFF NZ with another friend of mine. So that's a fitness and fashion organization that has competitions and stuff. So keeps me pretty busy.
Wicked. And I suppose they all kind of complement each other in a way too. I suppose working with different clients, you would have seen the need to get some good meal prep sorted.
Yeah, so I've been with various companies either as an ambassador, or we did our own range of pre-made meals. But my goal was always to have a solution that's a little bit different. And a pre-made meal is great if you're single and you can throw it in the microwave just for you. But for a family or for a couple, that's not really ideal. So with the pre-made protein and the pre-made carbs, you can buy it and use it for family members. You can use it just for yourself and have lunch and dinner. You can use it for a couple. So it's more versatile and sort of fits a need and a gap in the market. A little bit different to, say, like a My Food bag where you have to cook it. Everything's all cooked. You just basically have to heat it up and throw it with your favorite carbs and veggies and you're good to go.
Cool. Okay, well, I know that there's going to be a bunch of different young people jumping on this live, or they're on the replay. Some are students and they are at the migraine phase of their nutrition journey, and some are young professionals or young people that are working. Some people might not be working at the moment. And I think there's just like a range of different experiences and understanding around food and nutrition. So I thought we could just start at the basics, and it'd be cool to hear from your perspective. What are the basics of good nutrition?
Well, good nutrition needs to provide a couple of things. First of all, it needs to be sustainable for the individual. That means they need to like it. They need to be able to do it long term. And for what your category you're talking about, also needs to be affordable. So by understanding that, those three things, it also has to be healthy and nutritious, which is the whole point of what I do. Is, you know, the meagerine noodle diet that all students have done and survived on, it only gives you carbohydrates and fats and sodium. There's very little nutrients, very little vitamins and minerals in there. So a good nutrition plan should encompass all of that and still be affordable to fit your budget. Now, ways that you can do that are, you know, you have to understand what is your goal. Now, your goal might be to maintain your weight. If you want to maintain your weight, that's what we can do for you. We can work out exactly how much you need to eat to do that. Or if you want to lose weight, we can work that out for you. Or if you want to gain muscle, we can work that out for you. Or you can just follow some simple guidelines that we can put together and we can talk about if you like, that would help you get the basics in. And if your weight's going up, you can just pull back on a few things and maintain your weight there. So that's the basics of what nutrition should be.
Cool. And I suppose too, you're kind of touching a little bit on you know, if we're not getting the nutrition, that's going to impact our overall well-being, our overall energy. Can you talk a little bit to how food impacts our mental health and well-being?
Well, food, when you eat bad food, you get that initial dopamine response of like it tastes really good and you get that chemical in your brain that makes you feel great. But it's then going to labor your system while you're trying to process it. And that's why you often feel groggy, tired, down. And the gut has been known as the second brain. So if your gut isn't not great because you're not putting good food into it, you're not getting the correct levels of serotonin in your body, which means you're not going to have a great mood. So what you put into your gut can 100% affect your serotonin levels, which will affect how you feel mentally. Obviously, if you're feeding your body with good food, you know, good fruits and vegetables that have vitamins, minerals, you're going to have a good gut because of the fiber in fruits and vegetables as well. Drinking plenty of water, you know, a 1% dehydration can cause a 10% decrease in cognitive performance. So, you know, even if being dehydrated by 1%, your brain is losing 10% of its performance. So that's a massive amount of brain power to go if you're just a little bit dehydrated. So putting good nutrients into your body is really important, along with hydration, if you want optimal brain function, but also to feel good day to day. A number one thing that I have with clients is when they go from eating a poor diet to a diet that we put together with them, their mood elevates. They sleep better, they get better quality sleep, and they feel generally like a better sense of well-being. What we're putting in for food.
That's massive. And I suppose too, in there, just I think I can hear like young people in the back of my mind, like what young people might be saying if we're having this conversation. It's okay, yeah, we need some good nutrition in to really power good gut function, good brain function. But it's expensive, Jake and Gemma. How do you eat well on a budget, and what advice do you have for people who say it's too expensive?
Realistically, you need to get yourself set up with a couple of good things. First of all, would be a rice cooker. You can buy a 10 kg bag of brown rice, or if you don't like brown rice, like a long grain white rice for $10. And that's going to give you rice for a month. So if you have a good rice cooker, which might be an outlay of $50 or $60, you're going to save yourself a lot on carbohydrates. Shopping at places like fruit and vegetable stores for your produce is so much cheaper than getting it from your supermarket. Shop in season and go to those fruit and veggie stores. You know, broccoli is 99 cents. You know, asparagus when they're in season, 99 cents. Apples, you know, $1 or $2 a kilo. Potatoes, you get a big bag of potato or kōrero when they're in season for very cheap. And then you can just cook in bulk. Get yourself a big pot, boil up a whole bunch of potatoes or kōrero, chuck them in a snap-lock container, and that could be part of your carbohydrates for your meals, for lunches and dinners for a few days, so you're not always cooking. Same with rice. You can bulk cook the rice and put it in a container. You could do all your carbs for a week for $20 and then add in a couple of servings of fruit, whatever's in season, apples, pears, bananas, oranges, and some in-season vegetables. And those are going to give you some really good carbs and fiber in your diet. So that's the first one. Second would be meat. So that's your protein. Meat and eggs, milk and dairy is your protein. Now, vegetarians out there, tofu would be your sort of go-to option, or meat alternatives like corn. Or you could use things like lentils and chickpeas, but that's another discussion because they do have a carbohydrate content that you'd have to account for. So it makes it very hard to balance your energy input when you're taking in more calories from lentils to get the same amount of protein you would from meat. But even if you're buying good quality cuts of meat from the butcher, it doesn't have to be expensive. For example, you don't have to get the premium beef mince. You could get regular beef mince, but when you cook it, you just drain the fat off it rather than leaving the fat in there to get some rid of that fat content. Instead of getting chicken breast, go for chicken thigh and take the skin off it. It's much cheaper. It's going to taste better because there's a little bit of fat in there. But if you're having balanced portions of these higher fat meats, they're not going to be bad for you, provided you're not overdoing it with other areas of your diet. And then getting some good fats in could be just cooking in some coconut oil or olive oil, adding, you know, nuts as a snack, those sorts of things to get some good fats into the diet. You know, peanut butter on crackers as a snack is a great, you know, snack because it's high in energy, keeps your brain functioning, and the peanut butter's got good fats in there that'll assist you as well. So if you go to the fruit and veggie store, if you go to the butcher, make those choices in season, choose the slightly fattier cuts of meat, do bulk preparation with a rice cooker and a big pot. You know, you can actually cook and eat for pretty cheap. I was a student for almost 6 years doing my studies, and that's what I did, is I just cooked in bulk and survived a lot on rice and potatoes and pasta and meats, and yeah, just it worked. I did it on less than $100 a week.
Wow. So it is doable on a budget. It's just being it sounds like there's a bit of planning. There's like thinking ahead, getting organized around the different areas of your meals. And I guess I also wonder, what do you say when people don't have the time? I suppose you know, it costs too much. Then it's, oh, well, I don't have the time. What do you say to people who don't have the time to get it organized?
First of all, I ask, well, how much TV are you watching? Because to me, TV is a luxury time expense. If you're sitting down watching a couple of hours of TV, then that's time you could be putting into meal preparation. If you're going out visiting friends or meeting friends for coffee, again, that's time for meal preparation. When I'm talking about preparing a meal, you can do enough food for 3 or 4 days in advance in an hour. You put the rice in the rice cooker, slap it on. You boil a pot of water, put the spuds in it, let them boil for 20, 30 minutes. There's your 2 lots of carbs, done. While those are cooking, you've got your fry pan out and you're cooking up a whole bunch of chicken and putting it in containers. And that could be 2 or 3 days worth of food sorted. All you have to do is throw it together. Could even be simpler, you know, you just get a wrap and put some of your chicken in your wrap with some salad and you're away. So there's going to be a little bit of effort, but like anything in this world, if you want the benefits, there's going to be effort. You want that higher paid job, you're going to have to go to university, get educated. Then when you get to the higher paid job, you want a promotion, you're going to have to work a little bit harder. There's always that level. So it doesn't have to be as hard as I think people make it out to be, like, oh, I've got to get a recipe book and I've got to follow this recipe and, you know, every night I've got to do this. You can do some very simple things with food that actually taste really good and make the basics work for you, your budget and your time. Like I eat a huge amount of food with my sport, but I don't make every single meal from scratch. I bulk prepare stuff and keep it in the fridge. So when it's time to eat, I'm just throwing it together.
And I suppose too, by having that foresight, it's kind of out of mind as well. Like you've got that freedom. It's like, oh, I've already got that organized. I can just go throughout my day, and I've got a little bit more structure around that. So yeah, it's really powerful.
If you plan out your meals like what you're going to eat, so okay, well, breakfast is easy because I'm at home. So you have breakfast at home. Then you might have a couple of snacks. So one of them might be fruit and nuts. You can easily throw that into a bag. Then lunch might be leftovers from dinner. So when you cook dinner, you just make a second portion, put it in a container, take that with you the next day. That's your lunch sorted. Afternoon tea, again, it might be some crackers and peanut butter, which can be easily taken on the run or done at home. So all those little things there, when you break it down like that, you're actually not doing that much more because you've got to cook dinner every night. So you cook dinner every night, just make a second portion for the next day, throw that in your bag with a couple of snacks. You have breakfast and dinner at home. It's not too bad.
Yeah, this is such a good conversation. I think a lot of young people at times just feel a little overwhelmed because of different scenarios. And right now is a time where young people are feeling overwhelmed. So to hear you break it down and really simplify it, it doesn't seem like it's something that's too unachievable. It seems like, yeah, I could just put some time. I could even put it into my diary, some time aside on a Sunday each week of like, okay, we've got a budget. What are we going to do? What's going to happen when? And then I suppose too, for the young people that do have the means or are in a better financial position, they might not want to do that. And that's where you come into play, where you can offer your services and support young people with that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all a learning tool and a habit. So what we design our program for the general population is called the lifestyle program, and it's called that because it's aimed at creating these habits that will last you a lifetime. Rather than a fat diet, rather than cutting all your carbs out or eating salads only or not eating this or not eating that, we work with our clients to give them foods that they like around the budget that they have and around the timetable that works. But these are simple things that you could do yourself. Okay, well, how many times a week do you want to eat? Or how many times a day do you want to eat? It might be 4 or 5 times. So you can write down what all your meals are going to be, and then you can figure out from that, oh, I need to buy this much meat, this much potatoes, this much rice, this many apples, and this much nuts. Then from the shopping list, then at night, you make your dinner, make a second portion for lunch. You're putting your snacks all together, ready in a bag in the fridge. So in the morning, what you're doing, pulling it all out, taking it with you off to uni, and you're just grabbing it out and eating while you're going about your normal day. Like it's actually faster than waiting in a line to get a takeaway at lunchtime. Your food's already there, ready to go. Actually get more done.
Yeah, that's so good. It's kind of just going back to basics, like just how we've got this far and not really had the basics right. This is why it's so important we have this conversation. I can see Nicole's on the line with us. She's got a question for you, Jake.
Sure.
There's so many supplements on the market at the Mo. What would you consider essential supplements and vitamins for the everyday person?
Essential is a very strong word because the word supplement by nature is to supplement a good diet. So if you don't need them, you don't realistically need to take them. If you're eating a good balanced diet, you don't really need supplements at all. Protein powder is great if you find it hard to meet your protein needs. E.g., for snacks, or you don't really crave a lot of protein or meat. It's a nice sweet way to get protein into your diet. One other supplement that I would recommend is fish oils. The reason being is they're an omega-3 fat. We don't tend to get a lot of omega-3s within our Western diet. We get more omega-6 and 9 fats. Now, omega-3 fats help with reducing inflammation in the body, and they're really good for heart and brain function. So they have a massive role in all of those things. So we don't want inflammation in the body. Inflammation in the body can lead to other problems down the line. And obviously having something that's going to support your brain function is really important from a day-to-day perspective of operating at your best and keeping your heart healthy as well. So fish oils would be my only one that I'd say, hey, you need this. And if you struggle to hit your protein, then protein would be the next one. You don't need fat burners to burn fat. You just need a good diet that is in a calorie deficit. So they don't actually really work that well.
Cool. Thanks for that. Hey, if anyone's on the line, I can see there's quite a few of you at the Mo. If you've got a question for Jake, drop it in the comments. We're just talking about nutrition and wellbeing at the moment. So welcome to the conversation if you've just joined us or if you're here repeat. Hey, look, Jake, we've talked about some important habits that really underpin good well-being and nutrition. Is there anything else you'd want to add to, I guess this is my interpretation so far. We've got getting a budget sorted, thinking ahead and kind of planning out the week ahead in terms of what you're going to eat, and that being within season, and then actually putting time aside to do meal prep. Is there anything else that you think is really critical in building habits for good nutrition?
For me, I think that's the probably key basics, and then we probably can go a little bit deeper into what you need, which would be your protein, carbs, and fats. Okay, so protein being your meat, dairy, eggs, carbs being things like fruit, pasta, potato, rice, kumara, breads, those sorts of things, and fats, your things like you're going to get fat, trace fat in meats, you're going to get fat in eggs, but also things like nuts, seeds, oils. So it's about having a balance of those. So a healthy plate would look like a palm size of your hand, no thicker than your little finger, of protein. So that would be like your meat serving.
Okay.
And then your carb serving would be like a cup of your hand.
Okay.
And fill the rest of your plate up with vegetables. And then you'd want to go a thumb of oil or a fat. So, it'd be like a quarter to half an avocado, or 2 teaspoons of olive oil, or half a handful of nuts is sort of about where you'd want to go for your fat. So that would sort of be your 3 main meals. And then your snacks you'd sort of want to make up with protein and carbs, or carbs and fats. So protein and carbs could look like, 3 or 4 corn thin crackers with a small tin of tuna, or some cottage cheese, or some shaved deli meat. Or you could do a protein shake with a piece of fruit, or like you could do a fat carb snack, which could be like a nice and natural protein nut bar, or you could do some nuts and a piece of fruit, or you could do some peanut butter on crackers. So that could be a good snack for you as well. So those would be my sort of basic guidelines around what you should sort of aim for. That way you're getting two serves-ish of fruit in. You're going to get 2 or 3 servings of vegetables with your lunch and dinner by having half a plate at each. And then you're going to get your carbs, protein, fat by hitting those things that I just spoke about. The next one would be hydration. We look at about 33 mils per kilo of body weight, which equates to, for like your average sort of 60 kilo person, is going to be around 2 liters, and then upwards 2 to 3 liters for most people is going to be about where you want to be with your water intake per day.
Wow. I just realized I don't drink enough water.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. That's such a cool model. So it's palm for protein, a scoop of carbs, and then that much fat, and then veggies around. Yeah.
Veggies are pretty much unlimited. By vegetables, we mean like your fibrous ones. So potato, kumara, pumpkin, chickpeas, lentils, those are carbs. Lentils and chickpeas have a bit of protein. So we would count them as a carb. So that's your cup. But vegetables, you're thinking your salad stuff, broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, spinach, capsicums, mushrooms, onions, tomatoes, peppers. Yeah.
Massive.
The more colorful, the better with veggies. Mix it up, get a variety in. That's where you're getting your nutrients, which is great for, your vitamin and minerals, which produce antioxidants, which fight free radicals, which is the bad cells in your body. Fiber is great for your gut. Remember, your gut's your second brain. If your gut's not functioning well, you probably will have a bit of a down persona about you and probably not feel that great. So fiber helps with the flora and fauna of the gut. And that's really what we sort of want to work on.
Wow, I'm just having so many mind explosions. So it's really interesting hearing you talk as well, because I think there's a lot of diet culture around, like especially with social media and just like the expansion of anyone can be a blogger and put a good, profile together and whip up 10 tips for losing weight or whatever else there is. And I think that diet culture is actually really dangerous, and it has a massive impact on the hearts and minds of young people. What I'm hearing you say is that actually we're not trying to only eat one particular type of food. We're actually trying to get a really nice balance of foods and just be mindful of the portions when we're talking about carbs and protein.
So That's exactly it. Carbs, protein, and fat, it all comes down to calorie control. So let's think of if you have someone who wants to lose weight. Now, the way they're going to lose weight is by creating an energy deficit. So that means their body needs to be taking in less calories than what it needs to stay that way. Example, 2,000 calories is your maintenance calories. So you would have to eat under 2,000 calories or create energy deficit through exercise to burn some calories, or generally it's a combination of both to get into an energy deficit. Once you're in an energy deficit, that's going to dictate how much weight you lose. The larger the energy deficit, the faster the weight loss will occur. Now, there will be, there's a caveat to that the faster the weight loss occurs, the faster your body will adapt to it. And then it starts to down-regulate your metabolism to slow that process. So for all you guys out there listening, being like, oh, sweet, the less food I eat, the better. That's a short-term solution because all of a sudden your body will handbrake that. So we do it in a way that prevents those sort of handbrakes happening, because that's called metabolic adaptation, where your body starts to slow down its metabolic rate to stop you losing body fat. So in 1 kilo of body fat, there's 8,000 stored calories. So to burn a kilo of body fat, we need to output 8,000 calories. So if we were to lose half a kilo a week, we'd need to be creating a 4,000 calorie energy deficit, which I think works out to be around 600 to 700 calories per day. So if your maintenance calories was, 2,000, you might create a 300 calorie deficit through food. So you'd eat 1,700 calories through balanced food, so having the right amount of carbs, protein, and fat. Then you'd expend another 300 to 400 through exercise. Now, generally, exercise like cardiovascular work will burn around 8 to 10 calories per minute. So that means you'd need to do around about 30 to 45 minutes of cardio per day to create that 400 calorie energy output. Does that all kind of make sense?
Yeah, I'm following you. I'm like, whoa. I'm learning so much from this conversation. Like, when you just don't know what you don't know, and you just are learning things, and you're like, whoa. I think it's really important when we talk about all this stuff as well to just be really mindful of like the mindsets and the challenges that we're coming, or the baggage potentially that we're coming with when we come to talk about food and nutrition and exercise. I'm really keen to hear from your perspective what, I know that this is a really stressful time for a lot of people. Some people may be binge eating, or some people may be restricting how much food they eat. I'd love to hear what your advice is at the moment for young people that are in that situation and perhaps are bringing some heavy challenges to the space of wanting to improve their health and well-being.
First of all, I think be kind to yourself in the situation is the first thing. You might see on social media people saying, do this or do that, make a change, this, that, the other. Like, if you are having a really hard time, then maybe now's not the time to push yourself to achieve more. Maybe you should focus on trying to balance yourself out and to just maintain where you're at and get into some good habits, which we just spoke about previously with the amount of foods that you should be eating. So I'd be focusing on building the building blocks of some good habits if you're having a hard time, first of all, rather than applying more pressure. That would be my first key thing. And the second key thing is, if you're binging, you probably need to look at what the reason is behind it. Now, I've just done a podcast on binging on my Jake Campus Uncut channel on Spotify.
Cool.
It's a 45 minute, I think it's 45 minutes specifically about binging. If you guys want to check it out, that goes through the different methodologies of why people binge and some methods to counteract it. So if you're binging because you're bored, then my goal for you would be to try and pick up some activities that would fill in your time. So maybe in the times that you binge, let's say it's always at 6 o'clock at night, I'll be getting you to maybe go out walking at 6 o'clock at night, or jump on a Zoom with a friend at 6 o'clock at night, or read a book for an hour at 6 o'clock at night. So you're trying to break a habit and formulate a new habit. If it's an emotional response to a situation, then I would put into some steps to get yourself out of that sort of response, which would be, again, when you have that urge to binge, you pick up the phone, you call a friend, or you go do one lap of the block and come back, because often it's just breaking that initial shock of whatever's happening to you, and then you can get back into control. If you're binging because you're not eating correctly earlier in the day, so a lot of people, they'll binge late at night because they get up, they don't have breakfast, and then they have a late lunch, and they might miss afternoon tea, they have dinner, and then come before bed, they're starving. Well, yeah, no wonder you're starving. You haven't really eaten much during the day. So rewind to those principles we talked about having, the breakfast and the snacks and those balanced meals. I'd be looking to build the foundation of that, which would take away from the potential to binge later at night.
Cool. That's really helpful. And I think that'll talk to a lot of young people who are having some difficulty at the moment. So thanks for sharing that. Right. I'll definitely post a comment after this with the link to that podcast. I think a lot of people would find that really, really helpful. So
really in depth. So I think if that's a bit of you guys out there who's listening, give it a listen. There's some good tips in there, and it might just light bulb moment you into something that will help.
Cool. And probably just a couple more questions. And if you're on the call here, you've just joined us. We're talking with Jake Campus from Jake Campus Nutrition. And if you have any comments or any questions you'd like Jake to answer, feel free to drop them below, and we'll do our best to answer them before we wrap this up. I think one thing that's really on top of mind for me, whenever I try and make any change in my life, is that there's that resistance, and really keen to hear from your perspective when building some better food habits or nutrition habits or well-being habits. What's the biggest challenge that you see people come up against, and how could they overcome it?
That's a big one. We see a lot of people, and as you know, humans, we're all so different. I think you addressed it earlier with time and money are often the key things. They're so used to just waking up, leaving the house, and just buying lunch, buying dinner, buying stuff as they go. There's no preparation involved. So I think building a routine around preparation is probably one of the most common hurdles. Secondly, cravings. But with cravings, if you work with someone like us, we will build into your plan things that you enjoy, so that will limit the amount of things that you crave. So we don't have a one-size-fits-all approach in terms of like you must eat these 6 foods. You fill out a questionnaire and I like pizzas or burgers, or I really feel like something sweet after dinner, or I like chocolate. So we'll put things on your plan so you can make a homemade burger or pizza, or we'll have a couple of squares of dark chocolate in the evening, or a hot chocolate drink, or some sort of homemade pudding with yogurt and berries and fruit and all sorts of stuff in there, that whatever it is that's your limiting factor to your success that you crave, you have a little bit in there so you don't feel like you're missing out, and that generally leads to long-term success.
Massive. That's so cool, Jake. It's just, I think it just really, for me, you've just really helped me shift my thinking around what it means to have good nutrition and well-being, and that it isn't about a fad diet. It isn't about a diet even. It's really around foundational habits, lifestyle change, thinking holistically about food as well. Like, it's not one particular food I need to be eating.
Food is not bad. This is the problem with the diet culture. It demonizes food. Oh, fat is bad. Carbs are bad. Sugar's bad. None of those things are bad. Anything, even apples in a large amount, provided you're operating at a calorie surplus, will make you gain weight. If you eat too much chicken and brown rice and avocado, you will gain weight. If you're eating over and above the calories required to maintain your weight, doesn't mean those foods are inherently bad. You're just having them in a portion that isn't suitable for you and your activity level. So there's been studies out there of people who get the majority of their carbohydrates through sugar, and they still lose weight, and their lipids improve and their blood sugars improve, even though they're eating predominantly sugar all day. Now, to most of you guys, you'd think, what? They eat sugar all day and still lose fat? Because they're operating at a calorie deficit. And the law of thermodynamics applies where, if you are operating at a calorie deficit, you will lose body fat. That has to happen. Your body does not have fuel to supply itself. Whether that fuel comes from sugar or from good food, it doesn't matter. You're still at that calorie deficit. Now, most things improve when you lose weight. Lipids improve, kidney function, liver function, blood pressure, blood sugars, all of those things will improve with weight loss. So it's not about restricting any one food group. It's about finding what you like, what's good, getting enough of the good stuff. So that's the problem, is some people take it too far the wrong way and they only eat shit food. Sorry, didn't mean to swear. They only eat bad food, and they may be eating only 1,000 calories of bad food, so they remain very underweight, or they can lose weight on that, but they're not getting any nutritional density. And that's the caveat to that, is it's everything in moderation. You've got to have those good foods, the vitamins, the fruits, the vegetables, the minerals, the fiber, those good things that help with internal body processes, along with some of the stuff that makes you feel happy and good as well, and fit all of that in to match your personal needs and your goal.
Cool. That's so cool. It's, fully for me shifted a mindset around it. And I think maybe we'll just have one more question. This is your last chance. If you want to ask any questions, drop them in the comment box. I'm keen to ask you about fasting, because I've noticed this a little bit more on my social media lately. What's your take on intermittent fasting? Is that how you say it? Or fasting in general? Is there any value in doing this, or is this just another phase?
Okay, well, I'll start off with the facts. The studies that put someone who fasted on the same amount of calories as someone who did those same amount of calories spread throughout the day lost the exact same amount of weight. So again, the law of thermodynamics applies. If you fast on 1,400 calories and have your 1,400 calories in a 6-hour window versus someone who eats 1,400 calories over 12 hours, the results are exactly the same. Fasting isn't directly cause weight loss. But what people do is they don't count their calories. They just might go, well, I'm going to fast, so I'm just going to skip those first 2 or 3 meals that I would normally have and only eat the last 2 meals that I would have. Well, indirectly, they've just cut out a third of their calories. So, of course, now they're in a calorie deficit. Hello, weight loss. Right. So the fasting itself doesn't cause the weight loss. It's operating in a calorie deficit that does. Now, you can do that by spreading your food out in an even number of meals across the day, and you don't have to fast. What I just think about fasting is, you're a mother. Would you like your child to watch you not eat all day long and then binge in one hit?
No, that's not good modeling. Well, not modeling that I want to do. Yeah.
That's not, to me, that is irresponsible. That's by definition an eating disorder. So it's restricting and then overindulging. So it can form some really bad and unhealthy habits. And me personally, as a healthcare professional, if I saw a woman doing that and her child was sort of watching, and as we all know, children, they watch what their parents do and they replicate that, that would set that child up for some very unhealthy habits in the future, and a very unhealthy mindset towards food. So, and it's totally unneeded, because you can achieve the same result and you can get the same benefits of what fasting claims they have. Those benefits happen when you lose weight. The benefit of fasting isn't because you're fasting, it's because of the weight loss. And the weight loss is because of the calorie deficit, not the fasting. Does that all make sense?
Oh, yeah, it makes so much sense. And it's, I think it's something that just keeps appearing in my social feeds at the moment. I'm like, what's this fasting thing? You're just, And I think as well, speaking to modeling and what we're sharing and showing our kids as well, I think for me applies to everything we've talked about too. You know, like we can have conversations with our kids about, okay, this is what we do for protein and this is what we, like there's some really cool things that I've taken from this conversation, and we can start having conversations around the dinner table and the kitchen about what good well-being is with food. And it's just so empowering. I think you've shared a lot of really cool insights. I think I just want to touch on as well that this isn't, for everyone listening, and if you're on the replay, this isn't a conversation about what you should or shouldn't do. I think it's really important that we tune into what feels good and right for us. If you're wanting to lose weight, then these are some of the different tools or strategies or techniques that can support you with that. If you'd like to have more nourishing and more positive well-being and have good gut health and good mind health, then these are some of the tools, tips, and strategies to support you with that. I just want to encourage everyone to really tune into what feels good and right for them, and that you're aware of that, and that be what's motivating you to make these changes in your life. If there's something you've heard today that you want to change, is there anything you want to add to that, Jake?
Yeah, I guess for me, like some of you guys, you might not have body weight goals or health goals. You know, you might be young and those things might not be on your mind right now. But for me, if you can take away some things that might enhance your lifestyle, remember there's no foods that are inherently good or bad. You can still enjoy the things that you want to enjoy. Just moderation is the key, and maybe take home some of those things that I talked about with some quality foods and start to make sure that they make more of an appearance in your day-to-day lives. And for me, that's me doing my job as a healthcare provider, saying, hey, just take steps that you're comfortable with to making a healthier version of you. Even if you just make one or two little changes, that could be adding years to your life long term. It could help you fight off diseases and illnesses that you may get in the future. All of these positive benefits with eating healthy and maintaining a healthy weight, they're proven time and time again. I'm not saying you have to eat clean whole foods 24/7 and miss out on your favorite takeaway, or your block of chocolate or whatever it might be that you enjoy. It's not about that, because I certainly have some of those things myself that I enjoy on time to time, but it's all balanced in with other areas that I know I need to make sure I get in to stay healthy.
Wicked, so good. Hey Jake, how can people get in touch with you if they want to find out more about anything you've shared about today?
So we have our website, www.jcn.co.nz, or on Facebook, Jake Campus Nutrition, and Instagram, Jake Campus Nutrition. So you can just jump into our DMs on any of those or hit us up on the website.
Oh, and he's gone.
And on our
Are you back?
Yeah. I'm back. We have heaps of that information on our social media and on our website if you want free recipes just to try out. Like this week, we've done a healthy banana bread, a healthy pancake, and a healthy Anzac biscuit. So, yeah.
Oh, nice. That's so sick. Hey, Jake, thank you so much. I'll leave a comment in this live with the podcast you've talked about, and share your website link and Insta and Facebook. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and being so generous with our community. It's so great to be able to connect you back in, especially after you spoke at one of our events last year. So good to see you. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm sure if anyone's keen, they'll connect back in with you.
Work it.
Cheers.
See ya.